Taqiya is an Islamic term referring to precautionary dissimulation, a denial of religious belief and practice in the face of persecution. Another term for this concept, kitmān, has a more specific meaning of dissimulation by silence or omission. This practice is emphasized in Shia Islam, whereby adherents are permitted to conceal their religion when under threat of persecution or compulsion. However, it is also permitted in Sunni Islam under certain circumstances. Taqiya was initially practiced under duress by some of Muhammad's companions. Later, it became particularly important for Shias due to their experience as a persecuted religious minority. According to Shia doctrine, Taqiya is permissible in situations where there is overwhelming danger of loss of life or property and where no danger to religion would occur. Thereby, Taqiya has also been politically legitimized, particularly among 12 Shias, in order to maintain unity among Muslims and fraternity among the Shia clerics. Yarden Mariama writes, Taqiya is an Islamic juridical term whose shifting meaning relates to when a Muslim is allowed, under Sharia law, to lie, a concept whose meaning has varied significantly among Islamic sects, scholars, countries, and political regimes. It nevertheless is one of the key terms used by recent anti-Muslim polemicists. Etymology and related terms. The term Taqiya is derived from the Arabic triliteral root wawqaf, denoting fear or prudence, guarding against. In the sense of prudence, fear, it can be used synonymously with the terms tuqa, taqwa, and itqa, derived from the same root. These terms also have other meanings. For example, the term taqwa can mean piety. An alternative term for religious dissimulation is kitmān, action of covering, dissimulation. The terms taqiya and kitmān may be used synonymously, although the former has the more inclusive meaning of dissimulation in general, while the latter refers to the concealment of one's convictions by silence or omission. Quranic basis. The technical meaning of the term taqiya is derived from the Quranic reference to religious dissimulation in Surah 3:28, let not the believers take the unbelievers for protectors rather than believers, and whoever does this, he shall have nothing of Allah, but you should guard yourselves against them, guarding carefully. The two words taqiya and tuqa, in fear, are derived from the same root as taqiya, and use of the abstract noun taqiya in reference to the general principle described in this passage is first recorded in a Quranic gloss by al-Bukhari. Regarding 3:28, Ibn Kathir writes, meaning, except those believers who in some areas at times fear for the safety from the disbelievers. In this case, such believers are allowed to show friendship to the disbelievers outwardly, but never inwardly. Quote, he quotes Muhammad's companion, Abu ad-Darda, who said, we smile in the face of some people although our hearts curse them, and al-Hasan, who said, the tuqa is acceptable till the day of resurrection. A similar instance of the Quran permitting dissimulation under compulsion is found in Surah 16-106. Sunni and Shia commentators alike observe that verse 16-106 refers to the case of Ammar bin Yasir, who was forced to renounce his beliefs under physical duress and torture. Shia Islam view. 12. Shia view the doctrine of Taqiya was developed at the time of Ja'far al-Sadiq, the 6th Imam. It served to protect Shias when al-Mansur, the Abbasid caliph, conducted a brutal and oppressive campaign against Alids and the supporters. Religious dissimulation or Taqiya while maintaining mental reservation is considered lawful in Shiism, in situations where there is overwhelming danger of loss of life or property, and where no danger to religion would occur thereby. Shias lived mostly as a minority among a frequently hostile Sunni majority until the rise of Safavid dynasty. This condition made Taqiya doctrine important to Shias. Taqiya holds a central place in 12 of Shia Islam. This is sometimes explained by the minority position Shias had under the political dominance of Sunni Muslims, requiring them to protect themselves through concealment and dissimulation. In Shia legal literature, there is a range of situations in which Taqiya may be used or even required. For Shia Muslims, Taqiya is to conceal their association with the faith when revealing it would result in danger. Taqiya is done for reasons of safety. For example, a person may fear that he might be killed or harmed if he does not observe Taqiya. In this case, Taqiya is allowed. However, in some circumstances Taqiya may lead to the death of an innocent person. If so, it is not permissible. It is haram to kill a human being to save one's own life. Some Shias, though, advance Taqiya as a form of jihad, a sort of fighting against their adversaries. Others relate it to the esoteric nature of early Shia Islam. The knowledge given to the Imams by God had to be protected, and the truth would have to be hidden before the uninitiated and their adversaries until the coming of the 12th Imam, when this knowledge and ultimate meaning can become known to everyone. Religious rulings of the Shia Imams was also influenced by Taqiya. Without it, basic articles of early Shiism do not make sense and lose coherence because of contradictions. Some of the traditions from the Imams make Taqiya a central element of Shiism. He who has no Taqiya has no faith. He who forsakes Taqiya is like him who forsakes prayer. Taqiya is the believer's shield, but for Taqiya, God would not have been worshipped. It is unclear whether those traditions only refer to Taqiya under risk or also Taqiya to conceal the esoteric doctrines of Shiism. Many Shias today deny that Taqiya has any significance in the religion. Ismaili Shia view for the Ismailis in the aftermath of the Mongol onslaught of the Alamid state in 1256 CE. The need to practice Taqiya became necessary, not only for the protection of the community itself, which was now stateless, but also for safeguarding the line of the Nizari Ismaili Imamate during this period of unrest. Accordingly, the Shia Imam Jafar al-Sadiq stated, "Taqiya is my religion and the religion of my ancestors." A tradition recorded in various sources including Kitab al-Mahazin of Ahmad b. Muhammad al-Baqi and the Daim al-Islam of al-Qadi al-Newman. Such periods in which the Imams are concealed are known as Satr. However, the term may also refer to times when the Imams were not physically hidden from view but rather when the community was required to practice precautionary dissimulation. During Satr, the Imam could only be accessed by his community and, in extremely dangerous circumstances, would be accessible only to the highest-ranking members of the Ismaili hierarchy, whose function it was to transmit the teachings of the Imam to the community. According to Shia scholar Muhammad Hussain Javari Sabin al-Shiism would not have spread at all if not for Taqiya, referring to instances where Shia have been ruthlessly persecuted by the Sunni political elite during the Umayyad and Abbasid empires. Indeed, for the Ismailis, the persistence and prosperity of the community today owes largely to the careful safeguarding of the beliefs and teachings of the Imams during the Ilkhanid, the Safavid dynasty, and other periods of persecution. Alawite view. Alawites' beliefs have never been confirmed by the modern religious authorities. Alawites tend to conceal the beliefs due to historical persecution. Some tenets of the faith are secret, known only to a select few. Therefore, they have been described as a mystical sect. Alawites celebrate Islamic festivals. Their most important feast is Eid al-Qadiyah. Druze view. Because of the Druze's Ismaili Shia origin, they have also been associated with Taqiya. When the Druze were a minority being persecuted, they took the appearance of another religion externally, usually the ruling religion in the area, and for the most part adhered to Muslim customs by this practice. Sunni Islam view. The basic principle of Taqiya is agreed upon by Sunni scholars, though they tend to restrict it to dealing with non-Muslims and when under compulsion, while Shia jurists also allow it in interactions with Muslims and in all necessary matters. In Sunni jurisprudence, protecting one's belief during extreme or exigent circumstances is called idtira, which translates to being forced or being coerced, and this word is not specific to concealing the faith. For example, under the jurisprudence of idtira, one is allowed to consume prohibited food to avoid starving to death. Additionally, denying one's faith under duress is only at most permitted and not under all circumstances obligatory. Al-Tabari comments on Surah 16, verse 106, "If anyone is compelled and professes unbelief with his tongue, while his heart contradicts him, in order to escape his enemies, no blame falls on him, because God takes his servants as the hearts believe." Quote. This verse was recorded after Ammar Yazir was forced by the idolaters of Mecca to recant his faith and denounce the Islamic prophet Muhammad. Al-Tabari explains that concealing one's faith is only justified if the person is in mortal danger, and even then martyrdom is considered a noble alternative. If threatened, it would be preferable for a Muslim to migrate to a more peaceful place where a person may practice the faith openly, since God's earth is wide. Quote. In Hadith, in the Sunni commentary of Sahih al-Bukhari, known as the Fath al-Bari, it is stated that, which translates to, there is a consensus that whomsoever is forced into apostasy and chooses death has a greater reward than a person who takes the license. But if a person is being forced to eat pork or drink wine, then they should do that. Examples: when Mamun became caliph, he tried to impose his religious views on the status of the Quran over all his subjects, in an ordeal called the Minor, or Inquisition. His views were disputed, and many of those who refused to follow his views were imprisoned, tortured, or threatened with the sword. Some Sunni scholars chose to affirm Mamun's view that the Quran was created in spite of the beliefs, though a notable exception to this was noted scholar and theologian Ahmad ibn Hanbal, who chose to endure torture rather than to lie. Following the end of the reconquest of the Iberian Peninsula in 1492, Muslims were persecuted by the Catholic monarchs and forced to convert to Christianity or face expulsion. The principle of Taqiya became very important for Muslims during the Inquisition in 16th century Spain, as it allowed them to convert to Christianity while remaining crypto-Muslims, practicing Islam in secret. In 1504, Ubayd Allah al-Warani, a Maliki mufti in Oran, issued a fatwa allowing Muslims to make extensive use of concealment in order to maintain the faith. This is seen as an exceptional case, since Islamic law prohibits conversion except in cases of mortal danger, and even then requires recantation as quickly as possible, and al-Warani's reasoning diverged from that of the majority of earlier Maliki faqirs such as al-Wanshari. See contemporary debate. In 2004, Lebanese Druze scholar Sami Makarim published the monograph Al-Taqiya fi al-Islam, arguing that the concept should be considered mainstream and ubiquitous in modern Islamic politics. Taqiya is of fundamental importance in Islam. Practically every Islamic sect agrees to it and practices it. We can go so far as to say that the practice of Taqiya is mainstream in Islam, and that those few sects not practicing it diverge from the mainstream. Taqiya is very prevalent in Islamic politics, especially in the modern era. Quote. Since the 2000s, Taqiya has become a frequently invoked concept in debates surrounding criticism of Islam and especially Islamic extremism. Islamic scholars tend to emphasize that Taqiya is only permissible under duress, and that the inflationary use of the term qualifies as a staple of right-wing Islamophobia in North America, or Taqiya libel against Muslims, while the critics accuse them of practicing Taqiya about Taqiya.